This is not a beautiful hiking film. This is a story about adversity and human adaptation. You see, in life, it's really easy to make a plan. But sometimes, the world just doesn't give a crap.
Lockdown for 3 weeks and
the coronavirus is the
Hospitals
biggest
are already
threat
under pressure.
This is not a game.
Who to treat and who
This
they
is a
don't have the
real
resources
and
to
immediate
save.
threat.
I think the last year has brought a lot of uncertainty for everyone, and with that uncertainty comes stress. Whether either on a conscious or subconscious level, we've all been subject to elevated stress levels the past year. We all deal with stress differently. Some people might exercise, others might meditate. For me personally, I climb mountains. Having grown up in the Lake District, I realised I had only explored a fraction of what it has to offer. And given I was stuck back home while the rest of the world shut down around me, I set myself the goal to climb all 214 Wainwrights. This challenge gave me a purpose at a time when the world around me felt like it was crumbling apart. But more than that, spending time in nature provided me with an escape. And I think that in modern life we often forget how powerful nature can be. You see, for most people, going on a walk might seem like a nice thing to do, but the crazy part is what happens to your brain when you're immersed in nature. In life, stress builds up in our bodies as we go about our day-to-day lives, but spending time in nature reverts the levels of stress hormones in your body back to their baseline levels. And in a year where we've all spent more time inside than we normally would, spending time outside may be more important than it's ever been before. As we go about our day-to-day lives, it's easy to get caught up in life. Easy to get caught up in the emotion of the insignificant. To care about a stranger's opinion, to get stressed about making plans or even just worrying about what you should wear today. We often place a greater emphasis on the decisions in life that have the smallest effects. And this isn't helped by the irrationality of emotions that we feel when we're either tired or hungry. But this isn't really something we can shut down. It's part of being human. And to suppress your emotions can be detrimental to your happiness. Instead, on a personal level, I often find that simply taking a step back to look at the bigger picture can be beneficial. I think this is especially true of this last year, and this is a sentiment that Alan Piper sums up really well. He's a man who managed the Tour de France winning team the past 2 seasons, spent a large part of his life working in a burger van, and has been battling with cancer in recent years, and his words certainly offer a powerful reminder of the importance of time.
When you're young, it's difficult to put anything into perspective. You don't have anything to reflect on. Now that I'm 60 years old, I've had a lot of time to reflect and look back, and you know, I can see the patterns in my life and sometimes how they come around, you know, which you only get with age anyway. Life is just a series of phases, you know, and as difficult as a phase might seem to be, that you never get out of it, that it'll never change, they always change. And if you can compartmentalise parts of your life that aren't going so good as a phase, it sort of gives you confidence and hope that, you know, it won't be too much longer before you get out of it, or at least it changes to something else, you know. I think that's probably the best thing that I can see out of my experience of life anyway.
Procrastination is the thief of time. We're all guilty of not finishing what we've started. Maybe we started running but never ran that marathon. Maybe we started that new hobby, really enjoyed the first couple of weeks and never went back. Or even simply just forgetting to finish that book we started over a year ago. It's a lot easier to give up than it is to persevere. I don't consider myself an expert in perseverance. I give up what I start just as much as the next person. But I do know this, and that is that perseverance is important. I know that if you want to do anything in life, at some point you're going to need to persevere. And you're always going to face the choice between continuing and giving up. And it's always going to be easier to give up. It's always easier to live within your comfort zone. But just because something is easy doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. By definition, stepping outside of your comfort zone is going to make you feel uncomfortable. But it's when you have that feeling of being uncomfortable that you grow as a human being. With anything you do, there is going to come a point where you feel like giving up. For me, I was super motivated at the start of the challenge, climbing mountains pretty much every day off I had, and even before and after work some days. But the longer the challenge went on, the less motivated I became. I started making excuses that the weather wasn't quite right or it was too far to drive. And at the time those excuses seemed rational to me, but looking back it's easy to see I was just procrastinating. Procrastinating is part of being human, but simply being aware of it and not letting it control your life can be an important step in the right direction. Sometimes in life we go searching for happiness, but spending too much time trying to find happiness can leave you more unsatisfied than you were to begin with. And I think that part of that is to do with how we interact with our world. Often we go through life too busy to notice the little things around us, that breath of fresh air, the sound of flowing water or the touch of different textures. We miss these little things too often, but finding them again isn't difficult. And for me, I try to live life following two simple steps. Part 1 of the 2-step plan is simply getting on with ordinary life, living it day by day like anybody else, going through life with all the tensions and worries that stop us noticing how beautiful the world can be. Part 2 is instead of letting the busyness of life dictate how we interact with the world around us, instead you take a step back and notice the little things. The smile from a stranger, the rush of dopamine when you learn something new, or simply just enjoying the sunset. It's these little things that make life worth living, and I think that in life that's something that we too often forget.
construct that we've created, our personalities, is so strong that you have to do something extreme to be able to transcend that, to be able to break through those things. Because we're so ingrained with our personalities and we believe that that's who we are. It's just when you do something of an extreme nature and then you get to transcend that, you get to see what sits below that surface. You get to see that you actually have a choice, that there's something more than who you pretend to be. And whilst we're really attached to who we are as individuals, there's also so much more to life if we have that freedom of choice.
All right.